Hi guys, we are now going to look at ordering and comparing decimals. Now remember, when we compare decimals, we can use a greater than, less than, or equal to sign. Remember these two signs, the big side of the mouth goes to the bigger number and the smallest size of the crocodile's mouth goes to the smallest number. Now when you're comparing decimal numbers, it's the same as comparing normal numbers. You start at the left and you compare them digit by digit. So if you look at the first one, they're both 1 and 1. So you have to go to the next digit. They're both 1 and 5. So you have to go to the next digit. Then they're both a 7. So they're still the same size. But when you go to the next digit, this one's a 1 and this one's a 0. 1 is bigger than 0. So this one is greater than that one. Same for this one. They're both 13. After the comma, it's a 4 and a 4. And a 6 and a 6. And then there's nothing here. But nothing is the same as a 0. So these will be equal. Also then, if you have 5, after the comma, it's 1 and 5. And then both sides have a 2. This side has a 3 and this side technically has a 0. So the 3 is bigger than the 0. So this one will be greater than the second one. If we do number sequences in decimals, it works the same way as whole numbers, except while you're doing it, you pretend that the comma is not there. So I take it as a 47, a 48, and a 49, as opposed to a 4,7 and a 4,8. Something that's very important when you are doing sequences in decimals, it's very important to put a semicolon. Otherwise, it looks like one continuous number. That is very important. So between your decimals, you have to put a semicolon. So this one is 4,7, 4,8, 4,9. So they're adding 1/10 every time they carry on. So after this, remember, when we are working with digits, 9 is the highest digit. The next one is a 0, and then it carries one whole over to the other side. So if I add a 10th to 4,9, it will become 5,0. If I add another 10th, semicolon, 5,1, and then it will be 5,2. If we look at the next one, we have tenths and hundredths. They are adding 2/100ths every time. Again, you can just look at the digits after the comma. It makes it easier. You can work with the 34, the 36, and the 38. So you can see that they're counting in twos, but in this case, it's 2/100ths. So you keep adding 2/100ths. So after this, it will be 2,42, and then it'll be 2,44, and so on. It's important to read the question. Sometimes they want you to add 5 more values. Sometimes they want you to go up to a certain value. It's also important to remember when you're doing sequences, you can count up or down. So if you're counting down, there's an example. You have 3,4, 3,1, and then 3,8. So each time they are subtracting 3/10. So you will do the same. Again, you only work with the last digit. So if you're subtracting 3/10, it will become 2,5. And then very important, semicolon to separate the numbers. And then 2,2, semicolon. Now, if you have to subtract another 3/10, you're obviously going to take away the 2, but then you have one more you need to take away. So it will become 1,9.